Hey guys, it's Smiley with Sin City Clowns. First episode of Scary Tales. So, let's begin. First story for this episode is called A Brush with Death. Okay, let's see. Let's see what the story is. Okay. This happened to me back in the summer of 1977 when I was 17 years old. And here's a little backstory. I was born and raised in a little town in Illinois. We lived in a very friendly neighborhood where everybody helped each other out, looked out for one another, and remember always feeling safe where we lived. To the point we could leave our doors unlocked and not have any worries. And all the parents always mingled together at social gatherings, which were always taking place. Dinners, parties were always frequent to happen, especially during the summer months when the kids were out of school. So I was the oldest of 3 children. My younger sister was 9, and my baby brother was 4 at the time, and I often found myself looking after them while my father was at work and my mother was off running errands. One of the more popular families in the area were the Rileys. They did a lot of community service work and would literally give you the shirt off their backs if needed. In addition to that, I had the biggest crush on their teenage daughter. She was a year younger than myself, and I was homeschooled, so I rarely saw her except for the summertime. And I was insanely excited to hear that the Rileys were throwing a circus-themed 4th of July party at their house that year. They were asking people for food and clothing donations. That gave me an excuse to go and see if I could flirt with this girl. I knew she was out of my league, but hey, it was worth a shot. My parents weren't going to attend the party because my mom fell really ill that day, and I didn't want to go by myself. It would look awkward or desperate to a girl. So I figured if I took my little sister with me, who would also have younger friends that would be there, it shouldn't look as pathetic. So my mother agreed and said, "That's fine, but that we would need to be back by supper time." So July 4th came. The party started midday. I grabbed some canned goods from the pantry to donate, and my sister and I headed off to the Rileys on foot. It wasn't that long of a walk to their place, so when we got there, it was already a pretty decent turnout, close to 50 or so people. And when they said circus theme, they definitely went all out. They had an enormous lot of land on their, behind their home, so it wasn't hard to cater to over 100 people. I'm talking hot dogs, popcorn vendors, cotton candy machines. They even had a donkey ride for kids. They also set up a large red striped tent that the kids were running in and out of with their squirt guns and water balloons. It was pure chaos. But fun chaos. My mission was to find the Rileys' teenage daughter and go say hey. Well, it didn't take long for my little sister to find some of her church friends, and she instantly ran off. I remember saying, "Don't go too far." I was definitely the only teenager there. The parents were on the back porch mingling together, and I had 6 or 7-year-olds running around me. So not wanting to look like an idiot, I went over and got myself a hot dog. Well, halfway through, I look up, and there she was, hair in a long blonde ponytail. I had such a crush on this girl. She was bringing out a tray of watermelon slices from the house, and surprisingly, she saw me pretty quick and didn't hesitate to walk on over. I was so nervous. What 17-year-old teenager wouldn't be? "Hey, Tommy. You came. Who are you with?" I smiled and I pointed. My little sister over there. She wanted to be here, so Mom made me the babysitter. My face was probably blushing red, but she actually sat with me on the bench. And we laughed watching the kids as the clown was making the balloon animals. "That's when Pudgy Clown got you guys hired," I giggled. "Yeah, but Mom didn't hire him. He volunteered. And all since this was a donation event and all." "Oh, that's cool," I said. "We kinda Had an awkward silence after that. And she stood up and said, I better go back inside and see if my mom needs any help. I'll be around, so thanks for coming. She gave me a giggle and a smile, and she walked off. I did catch the eye of someone my age from school. She was with her family, and this girl had a boyfriend. It wasn't really my type. She did walk by and wave, and I waved back, and that's it. I sat for another hour, which felt like a lot longer. But my sister was having fun running around, and I wasn't really having fun. It was so hot that day, and I hadn't seen that pretty teenage daughter around again, and so I was bored. So I decided to go and fetch my sister across the way and head back home. As I was walking towards the circus tent where she was playing, I glanced over to my right, and along their fence was a row of tall trees. Behind one of those trees was that volunteer clown, and he was smoking a cigarette, which I later found out it wasn't a cigarette at all. He was probably taking a break, I thought, but we made eye contact, and he motioned his hand for me to come over there, and I pointed to myself and said, "Me?" And he nodded, and he motioned his hand again. "Come here." So I took another glance over at my sister just to make sure she was still in my sight. And I headed over to the man. "Hey boy, how you doing?" he said. And I was hit with a strong stench of weed. And I stepped back a little, and he said, "Nah, don't worry about it." He leaned down, put out the joint on a small rock, and put the rest of it in his pocket. "How old are you?" I'm looking for some summer workers, contracting work. I have a contracting business." I paused. "I'm 17. I'm still in school." He shook his head. "That's perfect. Summer job, make a few bucks on the side. You interested?" Of course I wanted to earn some money. "Yeah, I'm interested. What do I have to do? Do I have to apply?" He shook his head and said, No, I'll show you everything here." Here, he reached into his pocket and pulled out this card with his number on it. "I'd have to ask my parents," I said. You can start tomorrow if you want. Go home, ask your mama. Give me a call." I nodded. "Yeah, okay, I will." He said, "What's your name again?" As he held out his white-gloved hand, "I'm Tom." We shook hands. "I'm John," he said. "That would be great if you could come work for me, I've been short-handed, so..." I nodded and said, "Thanks, I'll call you." And with that, he headed back out to the kids, and I went and got my sister. Hey, it's time to go. I was so excited to have been offered this job. I didn't know what my parents would say. They were both in the living room with my brother when we got home. "You kids have a good time?" they asked. "Yeah, it was fun. I also got offered a job from the clown guy there." So my father quickly frowned. "Do what? To be a clown? My son ain't gonna be no damn clown." So I laughed. "No, he was just volunteering there. He runs a contracting company. He was short on workers. It's just for the summer. He said I could start tomorrow. Can I please?" I begged. My mother started shaking her head halfway through. "Absolutely not, Thomas. I need your help around the house and need you to help your father and I when we need you." The answer is no. So one thing about my mother is that when she said something, she meant it. There was no arguing with her. I was really disappointed. I even tried to get my dad to say yes while my mom was in the kitchen. "What your mama said is final, Tommy." So I brushed it off, tossed the card in my closet, never made that phone call, and I put the whole encounter out of my mind. So I went on to graduate high school, studied at the community college nearby, taking classes while school was on, their winter break for Christmas. I was still living with my parents at that time. I was on the couch flipping through the TV channels, and I came across breaking news. We hadn't been watching much television that day, so this was the first time my family was hearing about this. On the television screen reads, "John Wayne Gacy charged for murder." And at that time, it showed 3 boys dead, buried under the crawl space of his Illinois home. Obviously now, we know it was 33 young men. And then I read the header. Killer clown in disguise. It hit me like lightning. So I flashed back to that circus party last July at the Riley's. That clown smoking weed. He gave me his card, said his name was John. Oh my God, I thought. I turned to my mom. Mom, do you have the number to the Riley's house? Yeah, she said. It's in the church directory. So she shuffled over, grabbed her little organizer, and she recited the number to me. So I frantically dialed as she spoke. What's going on? My mom said. She asked with concern. I said, shh, with the phone to my ear. So the Riley mother picked up and said, hello? And I said, hi, this is Tom. And she knew who I was, and I asked her daughter if her daughter was home. She said, yeah, one moment. And she put her on the line. Hi, Tracy. It was good seeing you at the Thanksgiving event that our church had a few months ago, I said. This might seem like an awkward question, but what was the name of that clown that volunteered last year at your 4th of July celebration? So she paused and said, Then I heard her mom, and I heard her mom say, I know it began with a P, Poncho, I think Pongo maybe? I asked, does she know his real name? And I can hear her mom say, no. So I said, okay, thanks, Tracy. I'll talk to you later. She paused for a moment and then said, okay, is there something wrong? I tell her, it's probably nothing. We both say our goodbyes. After I hang up the phone, I remember the card the clown gave me that day. So I run to my room. I start to look through my closet to find the card. My mom runs in behind me and asks, what's wrong? At that moment, I find what I'm looking for, and I turn to look at my mom. With tears in my eyes, I look at my mother, and she stares at me, scared to death. I run over to her, and I hug her tightly. Tom, what is it? She asks. I look at her, and all I can make out is, thank you. I hand her the card, and I walk away. She looks down at the crumpled up card that I gave her, placed in her hands. It reads, John Wayne Gacy. I'm a grown man now, with children of my own, and I'll forever remember that day John Wayne Gacy had the intentions to kill me, like he had the rest of his innocent victims. I literally had a brush with death. What if my mother had given me the okay to go work for him that following day? I would have added to the body count, and my family would have never seen me again, because I would be buried under a crawl space in this monster's graveyard basement. I thank the Lord every day that I didn't fall victim, and I think about it constantly. Even though he was put to death, that 4th of July in Illinois will forever haunt my dreams. Okay, guys, that was a brush with death on the first episode of Scary Tales with Smiley. Anyways, if you liked this episode and you want to see more, give us a like, give us a share. Hit us up in the inbox or in the comments and let us know what y'all think. And if you have your own scary story of your own, send them to us. They might end up in the episode. Thank y'all for watching.